Been a long time. I shouldn't have left you. Return of the boxing guru. I'm coming with so much flavor. I'm also known as the Wilder hater. But my video's here to please you. It's under the microscope here to teach you. You with the one and only boxing guru. For this episode of Under the Microscope, we're going to focus in on the big fight that's going down Saturday night in the nation capital, D.C., Washington, D.C. It's Gervonta Tank Davis versus Hector Garcia. In my opinion, this is the first major big fight of 2023, and it has to deal with one of the most exciting fighters in boxing right now today is Gervonta Tank Davis. I always tell people, if you ain't never been to a Tank Davis fight, man, you don't know what you're missing. If you ever think about going to a professional fight, you got to do this before Tank retire, in my opinion. He has maybe 1 or 2 more years left in the sport. Even Gervonta Tank Davis is saying that he's not going to be around longer. I believe him, what he's saying, because he knows the road is going to get tougher and the opposition is going to get bigger. So that's going to limit Tank's, as far as how many years he's going to stay in the game. But Saturday night, he's fighting Hector Garcia. Hector is coming off his major bout against Brooklyn's own Little B-Hop Prime Time. In my opinion, I thought Prime Time blew this fight. He started believing his own hype, thinking he was something that he wasn't. Lil B-Hop Prime Time was definitely an excellent boxer if he stuck to his craft. But Lil B-Hop started getting into his feelings about, thinking he could knock people out and different things like that. And that's the reason, in my opinion, why he lost to Hector Garcia. He tried to make it a slug match when he didn't have to do that, and he made it easy for Hector Garcia. But Tank Davis on Saturday night is not going to do that. Tank is a more disciplined fighter than Chris Colbert, in my opinion, even though Hector is supposed to have a nice pedigree from Dominican or wherever he's from, Puerto Rico or wherever he's from. But on this level, I don't think so. I think he's real sloppy with his punches. His punching is looping. He falls in a lot. He's real slow. So I believe Tank Davis will be able to capitalize and take full advantage of that his flaws. So in my opinion, I think Tank Davis will get another TKO knockout. I'd say about 7 to 8 rounds. Yeah, it's going to go about 7 to 8 rounds because, with the height disparity that Tank usually deals with. That's be the tricky part because Tank sometimes has to come in. He has to fight different style, either on the back foot or coming forward. And with this fight against Hector, Tank going to try to box with him because at first, just to test him out, make sure he don't have any power. And then I believe Tank's success is when he going to come forward and force Hector to defend himself by throwing punches. Like I said, Hector, one of his biggest flaws is his punches, how wide and sloppy they are. So it's going to be openings for Tank Davis where he's going to be able to use that patented uppercut that he did with Leo Santa Cruz. So I'm looking for Tank to use that uppercut, whether it's the right uppercut or the left uppercut. But I'm looking for Tank to hit a Hector, to lift him up, and then come with a hook. Tank's favorite 2 punches, the uppercut and the hook off of it. So it's going to be very critical that Hector stay on the back foot and try to survive and get away from Tank's onslaught and the pressure that Tank going to put on. But like I said, with Hector's flaws, that's why they picked him. It's going to be very difficult for him to succeed and keep Tank off of him. So this definitely is going to be a lit event. The whole card is stacked. You got the return of the Peterson brothers, Lamont and Anthony Peterson. So it's definitely going to be a lit event. But like I said, I'm looking for Tank Davis definitely to knock Hector out and set up his major bout that's supposed to be going down April 15th in Las Vegas against King Ryan Garcia. So this is definitely going to be an intriguing event this weekend. electrifying event because you got Baltimore only 40 to 50 miles away, his hometown, Tank Davis, so all his fans would come in and attend it. And his fans in Washington, D.C. and the surrounding Virginia area. So it's going to be a lit event, the biggest event of the new year so far. So I'm looking for this definitely to be close to a sellout in the Capital One Arena that holds 20,000. So it's definitely, I will be in attendance for this. I definitely don't want to miss none of Tank Davis' future fights before his career is over, because Tank definitely gives you your money's worth inside and outside the ring for all the festivities that goes on. Tank is definitely in the top 3 number 1 sellers right now in boxing. I think only Canelo Alvarez is ahead of him. Then I go with Tank Davis. He's in the top 3. So this is definitely going to be a lit event in the DMV area, so I'm excited for it. Hector Garcia fight this weekend with Tank Davis will be the blueprint and moving forward, because Tank definitely is on the road of no return. He's definitely going to be fighting bigger fighters from here on out, in my opinion, because Hector Garcia is he's at least 5'7" or 5'8". And then after that, he'll be fighting Ryan Garcia that's scheduled in April. He's a tall fighter. And then Tank has been called out by some of the top fighters at 135, Devin the Dream Haney, and Shakur Stevenson. So both of those guys is 5'7" and 5'8". So this definitely is going to be the blueprint this Saturday in Washington, D.C. So Tank definitely has to work on. And this fight is not like a tune-up fight, but this is a sharpening your tools fight, because, like I said, Hector comes in with a nice pedigree from the amateur standpoint. So, and then he just beat Chris Colbert. So this is definitely a pivotal fight for Tank, just to see how he's going to be able to deal with a tall fighter like Hector, who's going to try to stay behind his jab and control range against Tank Davis. So that's why Tank is definitely going to have to work on, boxing on the outside for a little bit, and coming in to close the distance on Hector as he tried to keep range. So that's going to be very pivotal, and for Tank to mimic like a Mike Tyson type of fight stance, where he's bobbing and weaving, but he's still in punching range, so he can be able to counter Hector and Hector's jab very effectively. So because this is going to be pivotal for his next fight against King Ryan Garcia. So in my opinion, this fight is definitely going to show you how him and Ryan Garcia is going to play out, because if Tank struggles with Hector Garcia as far as, the jab and the range, and this fight goes later into the rounds, it's going to be very pivotal that everybody see this as far as Ryan Garcia, Shakur Stevenson, and Devin Haney, because these are future fights. So if Tank could not be successful or make it difficult getting in and landing beautiful, effective punches, so this might give everybody the blueprint to show you that a good big man beats a good little man in Tank Davis. And so that's where everybody, including myself, would be looking for. It's not that he's going to lose to Hector. It's just how he's going to win and how effective Tank Davis is going to be against Hector Garcia. Because like I said, Hector believes in the art of boxing. Jab, 1-2s, try to keep range. So it's going to be very critical that Tank Davis not get discouraged, shows the patience and the understanding how to cut that down. Even though Tank fought fighters like Mario Barras that was tall, and he fought all tall fighters majority of his career. But if you remember, with Mario Barras had a lot of success and a lot of moments in the fight against Tank Davis, because he stayed behind a long jab, and he didn't. He used it as a counter jab, what that was, it made Tank very difficult of timing him and going over the top of him. So that's why that fight went into the later round. So I'm believing that this fight with Hector Garcia will do the same, because Hector going to try to use that tactic to try to keep the shorter man on the outside, make the shorter man take all the chances, and Hector used counter blows and counter punches effectively to try to stretch the fight out. But I just believe this is the blueprint that Tank gonna have to use and master this weekend as he moves forward in his career with bigger fights against Ryan Garcia, Devin the Dream Haney, or Shakur Stevenson. These are the words for the one and only boxing guru for this episode of Under the Microscope. Tank Davis will TKO Hector Garcia in maybe rounds 7 or 8 or 9.
Subscribe to me if you want more of the Boxing Guru Show.